Hello, viewers, and you are welcome to another engaging episode on Prime Star TV. Today, we are honored to have a legal luminary who will be sharing his experiences with us. He's going to share his journey, to lead us into various issues relating to legal industry, human rights, and national issue. I have a pleasure to introduce to you my guest, Mr. Ibrahim Lawal, Esquire. He is the head of Olujimi Akeredolu Law Firm in Ibadan. Currently, he is also the chairman of Nigeria Bar Association NBA Ibadan branch. Mr. Ibrahim Lawal, it's nice to have you on Prime Star TV.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much and good to see you.
I'm happy to see you too. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be very snappy about it because I know the time has gone. Now let's start this way. Can you please share your story with us? Telling us about your background.
I was born some 50-something years ago in Ile-Ife.
Ile-Ife?
Ile-Ife.
You are from Ile-Ife?
Yes. I'm a prince from Ife. But my brother is a Soko, which means that...
They call it Soko?
So,
but the former one?
So many Sokos.
Yes, we have Shijuade Soko.
We have Soko Lawal. Tajuddin Lawal is Soko from our own ruling house.
Okay.
And we are of the same father.
Okay.
So it shows to you that we are prince from Ile-Ife. We are from Lafugido ruling house.
It's a lie.
Ile-Ife. So I grew up, I was born and bred in Ile-Ife. I had my primary and Zaruddin Primary School of Magbara, Ile-Ife.
Okay.
And I had my secondary school at Odudua College, Ile-Ife. In fact, I had shown leadership traits right from my primary school.
Okay. And
when I got to Odudua College, at my Form 3, I was the timekeeper. Mm-hmm. You know, Odudua College is an Ionian school where you have HSC. So it is HSC that always become senior prefect, where they pick best students amongst the Form 3 to become timekeeper. So I was timekeeper in my Form 3. So when I got to senior class, I was made the punctuality prefect. So I left Odudua College. I made a foray to Taishola College of Education, then Ogun State College of Education.
Okay.
And I rose to become the Speaker of the Student Union. We had a lot of issues. It was during our time that a particular incident happened where some cultists went to attack one of our students, Ebon. Kolola, we carried that story then. Talo Yoju Ebon.
Oh, okay.
I was the Speaker of Student Union that time. I was called from my room that one of our guys had been, because Pascal then in our campus there was no light, there was no water, so we use lantern to read and stuff like that. So, and it was during military era. So Akintomide was the military administrator of Ogun State that time. So when he wanted to come, there was this Ijagun River.
Okay.
So I insisted that he must walk in that river up to our school. And it was the aftermath of that was when we were given electricity and stuff like that. So we made use of the opportunity to show our plight to the military administrator, and there and then school became to witness, some developments and stuff like that. So I left there and I went to University of Ibadan.
UI.
UI. First of all, came in through direct entry. Then I left when I was in 300.
What did you study at what's the College of Education that
I
you
studied
attended?
political science, Islamic studies.
Okay.
And I now use that to enter Faculty of Education.
Okay, in University of Ibadan.
University of Ibadan, where I studied adult education, political science.
Okay.
And I left when I was not fulfilled. So I left when I was in 300 level.
Okay.
Some people felt I was something was wrong with me and stuff like that. So I sat for JAMB and I passed and I moved into law. I abandoned the 300 level course I was doing and started 100 level law.
Through direct entry?
Not through direct entry.
You wrote JAMB?
I came in through direct entry to Faculty of Education.
Okay.
200 level. I was in 300 level when I abandoned the course.
Okay.
And went for law 100 level.
Wow.
So we started. So at my 200 level, I became Speaker Student Union University of Ibadan. And that was how the problem started. You know, when we were in the University of Ibadan, I was a member of a Democratic Socialist Movement, DSM. And so we always engage the authority on things that we feel is not right. Not only on the authorities, we always even engage the government of the day on things that we feel is not right. We are the vanguard of restoration of June 12. We are members of Nadeco, JACON, and all of that. In fact, we hold our meetings in Lagos in the office of Baba Abraham Adesanya.
At this time, okay, at Ilupeju area.
Yes. And so we participated in almost all the struggles.
The UAD,
all those ones. We participated in all the struggles and we suffered a lot of incarceration from Ibadan to Aketi to Akure so we were always detained, because of our radical views.
As a student?
As a student, yes. So at a point I was rusticated from the University of Ibadan.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, I served my...
At what level?
I was in 400 level that time.
A year to go?
A year to go. So I was rusticated and they canceled the whole 400 levels. So I had to repeat when I came back.
Oh, okay, you were restored?
Yes.
You were reinstated rather?
Rustication, I was not expelled. I was rusticated.
Okay, for
2 semesters.
That's a year?
Yes.
Okay.
So I came back. That was it. Since my academic sojourn, that would be the first time I would repeat any class in my life.
Well, you didn't repeat it. I mean, you were rusticated.
Yes, I was rusticated.
So
they cancel all those things. I had to start my 400 level.
All over.
So we did. At my 500 level, they still rusticated me. Because there are a lot of offenses they said I committed. Not offenses against this, but because we protested. So but at the end of the day, I weathered the storm and I went to law school. Even for the fact that I was rusticated, I still came out from University of Ibadan with second class upper.
Oh.
And I went to law school. I also made second class upper. I came back to University of Ibadan for my master's, and I had the PhD grade. Only that I refused to go and do the PhD
because you don't want to lecture.
So. And when we came into law, at the law school, I was posted to Nigerian Aketi for my chambers attachment. Okay. And that was when I came across the late Oluwarotimi Aketi, and it took instant interest in me, having heard about my trajectories. We became like father and son. That was so he
was also an activist too. So it's like you being his son.
Yes. So 18 of us came to do chambers attachment. But even that time, when we hold the chambers meeting, I would take them into account and begin to ask questions even from what we saw. And he called me and said, "When you are through, just come back.
Oh.
So as I was called to the bar, I resumed. I had the privilege of not being interviewed. I've never written an application letter in my life. So the first appearance I will have was at the Court of Appeal. He said they should give me file for Court of Appeal. That was my first appearance after my court over.
You were not tried at the lower court.
That was
magistrate, high court.
The first file they gave me was Court of Appeal to go and appear at the Court of Appeal. So my first appearance was at the Court of Appeal.
Which case? Or what case?
Can I remember the case?
Okay.
It's an application for an extension of time.
Okay.
I mean, ordinarily, they shouldn't have given me that kind of
because at your level,
my Oga had
you were just coming
in my person, and he knew that. And as I just told you, if you want to have a stint at Original Aketi, they do rigorous exams and interview. That was not subjected to such things. So when I joined them, that was the period my Oga was planning to become the president of Nigerian Bar Association.
Oh.
So naturally, I was conscripted to the campaign committee. I was perhaps the youngest in terms of call to bar. So I served as a member of the campaign committee and as his personal assistant. As I was the one that takes care of his meals and every other thing. In fact, you hardly can see Aketi in any occasion without me.
You were that close.
We were very close. So until he became the president, even when he became the president of the bar, I was the personal assistant to Oluwarotimi Akeredolu until a time I was drafted by my home state, Osun State, to come and serve the government of Ralph Aregbesola as the senior special assistant to the governor on legal and judicial sector reform. So I left temporarily.
Akeredolu influenced that?
He didn't, but I was identified by my friend. And I was identified by my friend and Aluta comrades, Ajibola Bashiru, the present National Secretary of APC. We were together at the barricades. He was an activist, True Total himself, and Kunle Adegoke Kerad, who is now a senior advocate of Nigeria. So he identified me and he recommended me to Ogbeni that I should work with him. So that was how I found myself in Osun as the SSA to the governor. So
now you became at that level. You are now. I mean, you have become a politician.
Well, I was a political appointee because I could not describe myself as a politician anyway.
But that was a political appointment.
And they have their ways of doing things. They still don't see us as politicians. Even despite the fact that we are working, they see us as bureaucrats, not necessarily as politicians. Up to today, I do not also see myself as a politician, but I know that every one of us play politics. The level with which we play politics varies. And one thing I know that I am proud of is that a politician that what it sought, somebody who wants to be respected, should have a second address. A lot of people who call themselves politicians don't have any other job other than politics. But for some of us who are professionals, who have our work, there are things we could not descend into. There are things we could not, put our hands into. Because we did our best until a time that I had to leave the government voluntarily.
You resigned?
Yes, I left.
When the time has not expired?
Well, we did 4 years. We have done.
You served under Aregbesola for 4 years.
For 4 years. And the second term, I was involved. If not that I left, I would have either be a special advisor or a commissioner.
Okay.
because of the role I played. But it was during that period that we had issues about Aketi's vying for governorship in Ondo State, and the position of Aregbesola was not in support of
Aketi's candidature.
I didn't know where I am coming from. I had to choose between Aketi or Aregbe. So I left the government and surrender all the properties of government in my care and came back to Ibadan. And so for me to fully support, because there will be conflict of interest.
Definitely.
If I am still in Osun and my principal is not supporting somebody, and this one is also my principal in terms of where we are coming from. So I have to leave and support Aketi. True, and
are you saying that Aketi and Aregbesola, they were not in the same caucus within APC?
No, they were before.
Or maybe one will.
Aketi was instrumental to Aregbesola getting his mandate.
Yes,
Aketi was his vociferous attorney. But at a point, politics, interests just differ, and they were ganging up against. You know that at a point, Aregbesola was 100% loyal to Tinubu, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and so you think that Aketi is, Aketi first had his stint in the governorship election that he lost to Mimiko. Ralph was supporting him that time, but when the second coming of Aketi, there was an issue. They decided not to support, but there is no way I could leave my Oga to.
And you can't give a reason that, why Aregbesola wouldn't want to support Aketi's political ambition.
The reason then was that they felt they have their own candidate, and Aketi is no longer their candidate. There is no longer their candidate, and so he must be stopped at all costs. And some of us do not share that position, So I had to leave, and I came back to Ibadan, not to the office. I was looking at the office from afar until after election that Aketi himself now called me and said, "Come and head this office now that I'm the governor." He invited me to come and become the head of chambers. And so, and that was that was
when?
That was his first time now, 2016.
Okay. So since then you have been heading this office.
You know that Chief Olujimi have two offices.
Okay.
One in Ibadan, one in Abuja. So Chief Olujimi is always in Abuja.
Okay.
Aketi is in Ibadan, Olujimi is in Abuja.
Because
the absence of Aketi in Ibadan, they needed somebody to oversee
the Ibadan office.
So I was called to come and head the Ibadan office. So I head forth while Aketi was over there. I never interfered. Whatever I need to do, whatever I need to discuss, I discuss with Chief Olujimi. Even when Aketi want to introduce anyone, he would ask for my this. If I say no, it's no.
Honestly, you're just shedding light on what I do not know, because I thought that Akeredolu and Olujimi, I thought they parted ways.
They didn't. They were partners up till tomorrow.
So these chambers still belong to the two of them.
The two of them, yes.
Oh, honestly, you are making a clarification that
maybe when
people thought that they.
No, maybe when we finish, I will show you Aketi's office and Chief's office.
Oh, okay.
Chief just left this today.
Ibadan.
Yes, he just left Ibadan back to. He comes around. Then I report to him what happens.
Okay.
So they are still.
Let me ask this: while you were serving Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, what was your experience in terms of governance, political governance in Nigeria, in terms of politicians in terms of politicians thinking about the interests of those that they govern?
My experience varied. You know that Rauf at that time was pro-masses.
Okay.
Most of the programs he embarked upon, meal, eat, whatever,
So, yes.
in order to, and to be fair to him, as at the time he was in the saddle, what do you call it? The rate at which people enrollment in primary and secondary education plummeted. In fact, in neighboring states, people bring their children from neighboring states because of free food. You know, it started this whole meal thing.
Yes, I know.
That
Yes.
The federal government adopted.
I know. Yes, I know.
That encourages a lot of people to also have their children. You know, he also introduced free uniform, all those things.
Yes,
you know. So
I did a lot of stories about it, a lot of features about it. Yes,
we came across one another because of that. You know, so a lot of things. There might be some drawbacks. Even
that
tablet of knowledge. You know, but the idea was that we want to reawaken the consciousness of the people and want to encourage the downtrodden to have the benefit of education. And that was what some of us are committed to. A lot of laws that would also bring development were things that we are busy ourselves with as at that time. But interacting with politicians, a lot of complaints that they were not actually benefiting. They feel that government is doing so much that it has neglected the politicians, according to them, who work. Because an average politician is not interested in what you do. They are interested in what they will gain.
An average politician is interested in what they will gain,
not what they will do for people. Even when you conceive projects that will be beneficial to people and you give them maybe as a contract, they are going to do it in such a way that majority of the benefit would be accrued to them. Even when you talk in terms of employment, they believe that they should be the ones that should bring people to occupy such positions, even if they are not qualified. They see some of us as people who are outsiders. It does not matter to them whether you are bringing certain skills and what have you
that can benefit the system.
It doesn't concern them. So they see a lot of people as people who came to reap where they did not sow. You know, that's the idea of an average politician. They will tell you, torí Ọlọ́run ṣòṣèlú now.
So can we say that torí Ọlọ́run ṣòṣèlú? Can we conclude that that is the reason why Nigeria is where it is today?
Well, let us be sincere with ourselves. If Nigeria is going to be good, you have to start even from the bureaucracy. Even the politicians we condemn, the civil servants are worse. I have had interface with them. Are they not the one that would execute?
Okay.
When no politician can steal money without the collaboration of civil servants. They don't even know where the money is. It is the civil servants that will tell them.
This is where the money is.
This is where the money is.
This is how you can steal.
They are the accounting officer now. Every ministry has as accounting officer the permanent secretary. So without the imprimatur of the bureaucracy, you cannot. So, and if you look at the etymology of the civil service, the way they behave is because of the military incursion into our body politic that encourage sudden purge in the civil service that time. And a lot of civil servants die in penury.
Okay.
So they now looked at, okay, if this happened to them, then they now want to let them back. So it was even the military incursion into our body politic that caused because we had the best of civil service during the first republic.
With your experience as a senior special advisor to Arabia, can you ever contest for a political office?
Let me say yes or no. Contest for political office, you see, in this part of the world, if the owners of a political party says, come out and contest, but I cannot conceive of aspiration myself. Because it does not make sense. The way we do politics in this part of the world, the moment you have an ambition, you are in trouble. A lot of demands will be put on you.
They want to rip you.
They will rip you. It's not they want to. They will rip you. Even when they know you are not going to, you are going nowhere.
Yeah.
You'll be hearing honorable, your excellency. You collect your money.
Okay.
And if you work hard for your money, you must be sensible in the way you spend those monies. So for me, unless I am assured, the owners of power say, we want you. Without that, I will not come out and say I want to run.
Let me ask this, because you've talked about your first appearance. I don't want to regard that, though that was your first appearance. But I want to ask for a particular your first appearance in the process of first appearance in the lower court.
Yes, there was a case I did with Professor. The man is dead now. Professor, what is his name now? He was the one that did Central Bank and Lunge. That case, we are representing University of Lagos.
Okay, you represented?
Yes.
Okay.
Our office was.
Okay, this is the office. Okay. And
the prof was a professor. He was a senior advocate of Nigeria. Okay. In fact, he taught both Chief Olujimi and Aketi in Ife.
Okay.
You know, so that for you to know that, we now file a preliminary objection to his case.
Okay.
And at Federal Court Lagos, so I went to argue it. And so when he came, they said, my lord, we have filed that this thing. This boy has come by way of demora. All those things. Said, don't worry, I thought your principal did all this. I was just looking at him. We got a date to come and argue. I called Chief Olujimi. I said, Chief, it appears you are going to lead me. It is Professor. He said, you are going to go there. You are going to argue this case.
Wow.
It is FRA Williams that is on the other side.
They so much believe in you.
Prepare your argument and let me see. I prepare my argument, just added one authority, and I packed this thing. I went to Lagos. So on that day, we started the argument. And the man wanted, I said, I need protection of the court. That I do not subscribe to anyone deriding me, regardless of the status. You know, I was burning. I have read my books. I was sure that. So we now started the argument. I now brought out Elabanjo and Daudu. And I said that matters that has to do with statute by action, you did not need to file anything. Perhaps Planet Prof had not read the authority. I cited the authority.
Planet Prof, who is the teacher of your Ogas?
That's the two Ogas. So they now adjourned for ruling. They came back. On the day, they delivered the ruling, I won.
Wow.
I called my wife. I said, it's
You were excited.
I was, it's like Joseph and what do you call it?
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath now.
Wow.
I cannot forget that case in my life.
You call your wife?
I forgot the name. I called my wife. I said, I won the case. Because I told Chief said, I told you that you will win. You know, that case, I can never forget. That was what gave me confidence that there is no one I could not
stand before.
And since then, we have started.
Wow.
And that gave me the impetus, that gave me the confidence. You know, I cannot be intimidated because I am sandwiched between two legal giants. So if you say you are senior advocate of Nigeria, I live and dine and wine with senior advocate. So there is no big deal. So a lot of things we learn from them because they are masters. Even in terms of appearance, in terms of learning, we were able to learn at their feet. And we are grateful to God that anywhere we speak law, you hardly can fault our position. You know, so we thank God.
Yeah, okay. Apart from that, is there any case that you lost in the court that that really shook you?
There was this particular case. In fact, it was a divorce matter.
Okay.
That case is too pedestrian, and it was a case of filing a petition for divorce, living apart for more than 3 years.
Okay.
The law is that it is automatic.
If
the couples had lived apart for 3 years, more than 3 years,
okay,
the court had no discretion about it. The marriage
has to go.
Yes, marriage has collapsed. The marriage has gone irretrievably. There is no bet.
What about if the other party did not come to court?
It makes it worse. That means that they have no defense to it.
Okay. So
this particular judge at the High Court here now said, even at that they didn't say the reason why they lived apart, and he now dismissed the
petition.
I couldn't understand. The thing shook me that I had to even put the judgment on platforms, and a lot of people are talking and what have you. We had to refile the petition instead of appealing it, and we got the correct. That was what shook me. Okay. What also made me happy was a case of a guy in Ogun State, you know, charged for murder.
Okay.
Policeman. And he actually killed the man anyway. He was a police officer attached to an expatriate. But what he said was that they were going, the man said he should come down. He wanted to urinate. And when they got into the bush, the man was wrestling his gun with him, and there was an accidental discharge. So there was no one that I discussed that case with that they said they will the man will go for murder. But God so made it in such a way that by the time I began to cross-examine the police that did the investigation, the driver who drove the car and everything, at the end of the day, he was sentenced for manslaughter.
Okay.
For manslaughter. Okay. And because he had spent a lot of years, he just spent just few months, and
he was released.
Yes, he's out now.
If one is accused of manslaughter,
it's 10 years now.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay.
So God was able to. Those are one of the landmark judgment that
you've had.
Not to talk about election petition anyway.
Yes.
Election petition cases. I knew that I did a case against Wale Oke in Osun that time. Up to the Court of Appeal, we won. I did the case. A lot like that. You know.
I was talking to, I'll call him a baby lawyer. He is about to go to law school. And I asked him, if you start practicing and a criminal comes to you, an hardened criminal who has killed a robber, he has done so many terrible things, are you going to stand for him in the court? He told me, yes, he would. And he also said something about this principle of second chance. And I said, with that kind of, you know, that kind of that kind of a person, that kind of a criminal, what happens to your moral? So the question is, legal and moral. What is the intersection?
Okay, well, let me start by saying that Section 36 of our Constitution is very clear that an accused person is presumed innocent.
He told me that.
Found guilty. Our job as a lawyer is not to go to court and lie that the person had not committed an offense. That is not the job of a lawyer.
Okay.
The job of a lawyer is to see whether, because the onus of proof whether somebody has committed an offense rests squarely with the prosecution.
Okay.
Our own job is to ensure that if you say somebody has committed armed robbery, there are ingredients that you must establish to say that the person committed armed robbery. Okay. So our own is to look at whether you have been able to prove or you have not been able to prove. And you can do that by, cross-examining the witnesses he had brought. Okay, let me give you an example. If we say, this person, the guy I represented in Ogun State that time, incidentally, he was from Osun State. I didn't know him from Madam. I did that case pro bono. Okay. When the story was told, I could have said, Ọlọ́pàá bóyá máa ń ṣe nìyẹn and accidental discharge, you can lock any down. But okay, the driver said the man was in the car when they were driving. The man said they should stop. They now go into the bush. They now hear gleam. Say, you have killed the man. When they got there, now saw the body of the man. I said, you have killed my oga and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the time the incident happened, he said they won up roll up the windshield of the car, and he didn't hear anything. That was what he wrote in his statement when the thing was fresh. So when I now confronted him, I said, you wound up. It was even the man that said you should stop. He said yes. The demand, was there any issue between this man and the orderly? He said no, none. Was there any time the man complained about the behavior of his orderly to you as a driver? He said no. I said on that day, even when they came down, see that when they came down, you did not hear anything because you wondered. He said yes. If you had not cross-examined, you wouldn't know that. But he said he had gunshots. So people went, and the car was still there. So we were able to establish that he was lying. You understand? Just to, and when we asked the police who did the investigation, I said, if you want to, as a police officer who trained in the handling of guns, if you want to aim at a person to kill, where will you aim? He said the whole part of the body. The judge said, do you know what you are saying? Because I wanted to say that if the person wanted to kill the man, he would have just shot him in the head.
Or possibly in the heart.
Okay. If you don't want to kill somebody and he's running away, where will you aim? He said every part of the body. Judge now will not believe it. So these are the things, these are the rule of lawyers. So when you talk about morals and what have you, lawyers will not say he has not done it or he has done it. His own job is to look at whether the guy, the prosecutor, had fulfilled that obligation to ensure that those ingredients had been established. In murder, there must be actual killing at the mens rea. You must have intention to kill, and it must be conjunctively.
Actual killing and what?
Actus reus and mens rea.
Okay.
You know, the actual killing and the intention to kill that person.
Okay. Okay.
And it must come. It must come conjunctively. It's not disjunctive.
Okay.
That was my argument. That yes, the man. If you say yes, this gun killed this man. The man did it, but had no intention of killing the person.
Okay.
Because it was as a result of fiscal between the two.
Okay. So intention is very important.
Intention is very important. Okay. There is actus reus, mens rea.
Okay.
Before you can have criminal liability, there must be intention. There must. You cannot say, okay, you saw somebody with your wife. Now you are doing something, and you now went out. First of all, go and relax yourself. You now came back. Now kill the person. You have the intention of killing the person. You cannot plead provocation. But you saw him at that distance and you reacted. You can plead provocation.
Okay.
You are not provoked any longer. You have gone out. You already formed that intention
to come and to kill. Provocation can if you prove provocation in the court, can you be exonerated? Can you be free?
You cannot be free entirely. Okay. You will not be charged for murder.
All right.
It can be manslaughter.
Then let us also look.
If it is accident, it's a defense to murder. Okay.
Let us also look at that concept of morality in law. Moral. Place moral side by side with legal. Is it possible to argue a case from the moral perspective and you win that case?
But the thing is that there are times when morals have no place when it comes to issue of law.
Okay.
You understand? What is morally right at times might be legally incorrect. And what is morally incorrect at times might be legally.
So moral doesn't really have a space in law.
It is to a reasonable extent. But you know, when you talk about morality, if you are not careful, it gets into the realm of sentiment.
Sentiment, okay.
Sentiment has no place in law.
Okay.
But if you look at the evolution of laws, morality is also forms part of why we have laws.
Okay.
You understand? So it depends. But what people believe is that they say somebody, because most of the time we have seen cases of somebody who pleaded guilty of an offense that he himself did not know he didn't commit. Because offense must be written in a law, and the sanction is also provided in that law. You might thought you have committed an offense and you have pleaded not guilty, while when they looked at the books and the ingredients, you might not have committed the offense.
Now, before I leave that section, there's something, of course, you've told me about your background. What you did not tell me is that whether you were born, into a wealthy home.
No, I'm not a silver spoon. So I didn't tell you that one.
No, you didn't tell me that.
I was born to a polygamous family, and my mom was a trader.
Okay.
I'm using words now because both my dad and mom.
They're late. How many wives?
My dad had 4 wives.
Okay.
And we are 18 in number.
Okay. And your position?
Children. I'm number 13.
Okay.
You're number 13, you might be number 16.
Okay. What was he doing?
My dad?
Your dad, yes.
My dad was a civil servant.
Okay.
In Osun State.
Okay.
He was an auditor.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
But not the senior one. And my mom is trader.
Okay. In Ile-Ife.
In Ile-Ife. Trades in fruits.
Okay.
We go
selling fruits.
We go to villages, farms to buy oranges, pumpkins, then take it to Lagos.
Okay, all right.
It's a fruit merchant.
Okay.
It was a fruit merchant.
Like
Alajapa,
okay.
everything. And I hawk.
You hawk in Ile-Ife?
I hawked in Ile-Ife.
Okay.
I hawked asala.
Mm-hmm.
I hawked goro.
Mm-hmm.
I hawked igba, garden egg.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing I did not hawk.
So I don't know why we didn't meet when, because I also worked in Ile-Ife too. Yes. No, I had my primary and secondary school in Ile-Ife.
Yes.
Yeah.
our place is Itakogu.
Okay, you know.
That's
I know Itakogu. Yeah, I know Itakogu.
Itakogu market was where our house is.
Okay.
So Omojanimi. So we do a lot of hawking around Ile-Ife
to survive.
In fact, during the period when garden egg comes out, that's our outside hustle. And we go and sell at Lagere.
Okay.
That's where we sell. To make
very close to post office.
Post office, yes. That's where we sell to make ends meet. It was rough. And tough, but because of the resilience,
determination,
okay. Just want to succeed. Despite the fact that we all say we are very brilliant. I was brilliant right from my primary school days. So it was very interesting. There are times I didn't even have shoe to wear
to school.
When you say like our former president say, I had no shoe, I say you are not the only person. So obviously not also have sandals.
We were many.
We are many now. We are walking bare leg. Even to buy slippers.
Okay.
You at a point you buy Dunlop slippers because you now use
I know.
To stitch it. Now that's what we do. You wear slippers that would
from
and you still be
from Form 3 to my Form 5. I was wearing bedroom slippers. All true. So yeah.
So that's the kind of environment we are raised, and it does not also deter us from getting education.
Okay.
And we were determined, to get to that level that we weren't being able to, and it has paid off. We thank God for where we are.
Yeah, apart from you, among your siblings, do we have others that also went to school?
All of us.
Can you narrate? Can you tell us about the ugliest moments when you were growing up that you cannot forget?
There are many ugliest moments.
Yes,
there are many. One of the ugliest moments is my inability. I was a science student.
Not art.
Not even art. I was a science student. I was doing
physics, chemistry,
biology for the art, maths, and everything.
So you now abandoned that
because I couldn't afford those textbooks.
Oh wow!
It wasn't easy. So I had to leave
in secondary school.
At Form 4.
Because you couldn't afford the textbooks.
The textbooks.
So you had to abandon science.
Yes, for art, because it is easy for me to get those ones. That I would get from friends and what have you. I couldn't afford it. So my brother now advised me that with this one that you people are doing here, you better switch. I wanted to be a medical doctor. If I had, but there is no way I could. And they were doing special lessons that time for the science students I could not afford.
What made you to think that you should contest for the position of MBA chairman?
Because of the experience, my background has always been for service, right from my secondary school days. I've always been speaking for people, and my background as a union activist had positioned me well to represent people.
Okay.
This is not the first time I will run. I ran for the chairman.
You won?
In 2018, I was vice chairman, and my chairman then was even my lecturer at the University of Ibadan.
Okay.
So we are together. So when the time, so I now ran for the chairmanship. A lot of things, because I feel that we need a courageous leadership at the bar.
Okay.
A leader that can speak truth to power. And within the little time we have been in the saddle, we have done our best. Speak truth to power. We have spoken to the EFCC.
Yes,
what they have thought.
Yes, I watch you on television. We have
also
protesting
to the executive. We have also spoken to the leadership of the judiciary. So we have discharged our duties.
As a chairman of MBA, what moment made you proudest?
The day we confronted the EFCC.
Why? Because
EFCC is seen as a no-go area for anyone. They have turned themselves to demigods. And so we're able to confront them and tell them that you are subjected to law. So that day I felt
proud of yourself,
of myself, of my association.
What legacy would you like to leave behind us by the time you are through as chairman of MBA or your branch?
The legacy I want to leave behind is a legacy of a leader that at every point in time will be able to stand in defense of the rule of law, regardless of whose ox is God. You have a right to defend the rule of law and speak out when the rule of law is being trampled upon.
Can you talk about one legal myth Nigerians need to stop believing?
The myth that when you have that there is nothing the police cannot do for you. When somebody owe you money, that you believe that when you report that person, the police will collect debt for you. The police are not debt collectors.
Okay.
People should stop that kind of it. Or you have land issues, you go to police.
Okay.
It is not the job of police.
So who can we go to?
Court. It is court.
But the police has to, I think
the police has no role
in filing.
In filing.
You can just file without the police.
Yes, I just go to it's a civil matter. It's contract.
Okay.
So it does not concern police. There are a lot of people, you see them, they will now be telling those people, go and be paying to us. Write an agreement and say you will be paid.
Okay.
It is a myth that people should not believe.
Okay.
It is not their power. It is not within their power to begin to collect debts for people. They do it.
Okay.
They will even collect 10% out of your money after they have collected. It is not their job.
It's not their job to
So
collect.
when the lawyer tells them that you are not a debt collector, they know.
Okay.
Then because they do it and they get away with it, it is not right.
It is not right. So if somebody is owing you,
you go to court.
You go to court.
We now have court with special small claim courts.
Small
claim courts.
Okay.
That one,
in Ibadan here.
In Ibadan.
Okay.
It's all like if anybody owe you money that is still up to like 6 million.
Okay.
You can still approach that court.
Okay.
And within 3 weeks.
But what about if one does not have money to engage lawyer?
Even you don't need to engage lawyer in that court. You can approach them yourself and file your thing and
without.
Yes, now just get a form, you will fill it, and they will serve the other party. So you might not even need a lawyer.
Nobody knows this. I think I'm hearing for the very first time.
But that is it. But I've always been saying it on radio and with a small claim court. It's there. In order, because they want people to also want businesses to grow.
Now let us. There is this belief that justice is for the rich. What can you say about that?
It is not true. Justice is not only for the rich, it's for everyone. But the problem is that people do not even know their rights.
Okay.
People don't, maybe because the rich people, can afford the lawyer who will tell them this is your right, this is your right.
Okay.
But because people do not even know that they have any rights, how can you now say, yes, more often than not, because of the way the society is structured, particularly police matters, if you do not have money to prosecute, you might have issues. I do not believe that we have taken up cases of people who do not have money, and we have won those cases for them.
Okay, let us look at this way. Some issues that not really big issues. Maybe you have problem with somebody, and of course, if you approach court will help you out. The issue is that you need a lawyer. Many people believe that they cannot afford the fees of lawyer.
Why do they believe they cannot afford the fees?
Okay, let's look at this way. If I approached Akeredolu and Olujimi's chamber, I don't know, like how much can I have to engage a lawyer to help me out in any
Depends on the
crisis?
categories of lawyers. There are lawyers and there are lawyers. There are certain positions that you get to that it's like if you want to eat, you know how much you have, you can approach Buka, you will eat and you belly full. You can also go to Mama Okpe and you eat. You can also go further.
Okay, let us look at somebody who is earning like 70,000 naira or 100,000. 70,000 is the minimum wage in Nigerian. Between 70 and 100,000. How can such a person?
70,000. Nobody is earning 70,000. If it is minimum wage, that means that that's the first entry.
Okay, let's talk about. Let's look at 100,000. Can such a person, and that person has a wife, has children, has family to take care of, can that person, get the service of a lawyer?
What did you want to do that you will get the service of a lawyer in the first place? If you cannot, if your money is for you to just eat, whoever that would need the service of a lawyer has enough to also acquire certain things before you say he needs the service of a lawyer. If you buy land, are you not going to do agreement? Are you not going to do survey? So don't let us trivialize issues.
Okay.
You can live your life without engaging lawyers or without having problem with anybody. If your own kind of life is just to eat, wake up, and go to whatever you want to, but the moment you want to do things beyond the normal daily routine, then you must be ready to also pay certain services. If you decided to now go and take your clothes to dry cleaner, will you say because my salary is you will not pay for that laundry? You will pay. If you decide to go to barber,
yes,
instead of using Fadageri, pay for it.
Let us interrogate that further. I managed to get a plot of land.
You manage?
Yes, it is possible. Maybe I get a plot of land around 300,000, 400,000, and much more later. Maybe like I do not have money to, build a house as at the time I got it for so many years, and maybe 5, 6 years the owner resell that particular land, and I'm not rich. And I want to go to court to say, please come and help me reclaim it. This person has sold the land to me. He has also sold it to another person.
In the first place, because you managed to get money to buy that land.
Yes.
You also manage money to also look for services to ensure that the land did not get out of your. If you know that you don't have money, just get your money and eat. You have gone beyond the ordinary scope of your daily life. So you cannot now be telling me that you do not also have money.
So you can now see the reason why so many people, are cheated. So many people go to, the rich one why
Do you
they
now know the interest?
harass
You now know
the common people and nothing will happen?
Do you now know the interesting part of it?
Yes.
There is what we call legal aid council. Even if you don't have money,
Okay.
if you approach legal aid,
Okay.
they will defend you free of charge. Government set them up to help those who
and they will defend me the way
yes now.
effectively.
Lawyers, yes now. They will,
the way you will defend me.
Yes now.
They will put in all their efforts.
Yes. They will.
Okay. All right. Is there any one law? Is there any one law you would love to abolish in Nigeria or reform?
Law, that's a huge one. But the law that I wish that we should abolish would be law of bigamy.
Okay.
It is a dead law. I don't know why. Because
Bigamy,
of our
okay.
culture.
Okay.
When you say when you have you go and marry outside wedlock, or you have a subsistence marriage and you now get yourself. That law, I do not know whether somebody has been convicted of bigamy
in Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
Okay.
Because of our culture.
Okay.
Somebody that you have children for, you now send that person to jail. So as far as I'm concerned, that law is a dead law. It should be phased out of our yes.
What are the biggest challenges that practicing lawyers face?
Challenge of fund, though. Challenge of clients not paying for the actual value of the services rendered.
Okay, because they don't have money.
I know it's not because they don't have money. Some people have money, but they don't also want to pay.
Okay.
The challenges is also the length of time that will take you to do a case. Even when you collect money and you think it's a big money, by the time you have spent a lot of years, you have lost that benefit. So it's a lot of challenge to us. If cases are filed and it is determined on time, it makes us prosperous. But a situation where you have a case and lingers for 5, 6, 7 years, how much have you collected? What is that value? And you still have to go to court. So it's a challenge for lawyers.
What about the younger ones?
The challenge is even the remuneration.
Okay.
Because a lot of law firms don't pay well.
Okay.
Because of the level of income they also generate. So the younger ones, because they are always quick to get rich very quickly, we have always been telling them, a lot of us also start gradually. And they don't want to listen to that story. Come into that profession, they feel disappointed because the expectations are not met on time. But the higher you go in this profession, the more prosperous you become. You cannot make it suddenly like that. And that's why you see a lot of them going to things that they should not go into.
Okay.
Because they want to show that they are lawyers.
As a young lawyer, what is their remuneration? As long lawyers, what is the remuneration looks like?
Yeah, it's not really encouraging. But the thing is that if you are not lazy and you are in an office where you can also do your thing apart from the normal.
Will that be allowed?
It's like in this office, it is allowed. Some offices don't allow it.
Okay.
But in this office,
you can take your own case without bringing it to the chamber.
Take your case.
Okay.
You can do your thing, to augment the little.
But is that ethical?
It is.
You are working.
That is how we run our own office. Office has his own brief. You have your own. Because we know we cannot pay adequately for whatever you are doing.
Okay. So you can take a case
Yes.
and do it by yourself.
Yes.
And if you meet that that staff in the courts, you're not going to raise any eyebrow.
No. They will even know that he has taken a case.
He will tell you.
He will tell us now that this is my personal case. So he can even come and meet his seniors to lead him if he knows he cannot even handle it.
And he's using the resources
of the office. That's one thing about this.
Nice in view.
That's one thing about this office, and that's why you see most of our colleagues they are riding cars, they are doing well.
Okay, but a young lawyer, can he be paid up to like 300,000?
No.
Like how much? I just want to know.
The highest you could take maybe 150.
150 in this present economy. To do what?
What would they? How much is the guy earning? You have said now that people don't have money to pay lawyers. Where do we get it? Is it not the money they collect that they will pay? They will pay for offices. They will pay for all those.
There are often complaints about delay, in the justice system.
I've said it.
Okay.
And those are the things we have.
The causes.
One of those things is that there are not enough hands to handle those cases.
Okay.
And that was why we fought for the appointment of judges.
Okay.
And we're able to achieve it.
Okay.
More judges have been appointed. We're still even asking for more anyways. We also talk about adequate funding of the courts. Because without proper funding, the thing will not move.
Okay.
Then the quality of those that are working in the judiciary, there must be training and retraining.
Okay.
They must have enough tools to work with. They are still writing in long hands at this age of time. There must be improvements in the way we run our court system. Shouldn't be writing in long hands. And our court system must be digitalized such a way that we're able to monitor what is going on.
What are the reforms that you advocate for in our constitution?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think that democracy we run now is too expensive. As far as I'm concerned, if we can go back to parliamentary system of government, it will be better for us. At least that one will even be more representative and cost effective.
But I would like you to advise the younger lawyers.
Well, my advice to younger lawyers is that they must be focused, they must be patient, they must learn this job. It is not right for a lawyer to just go and open office without getting trained. They must do pupillage. Regardless of the money they are collecting that time, learn the job. When you know the law, the money will come. So they must be ready to sacrifice a little time to learn this job. When they do, they are going to be better for it.
Mr. Ibrahim Lawal, Esquire, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For this insightful and thought-provoking conversation.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoy it.
It is my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And the viewers, we have come to the end of this conversation on the Conversation Hub of Prime Star TV. But I would like to appeal to you that please share after you've watched, comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until we come your way again, it is goodbye.